What's up, my lovely listeners? Amy Amanti here today, talking about something that gets us all a little hot under the collar. Dating. Or rather, the obstacles to dating between folks with disabilities and folks without disabilities. And why is it so fucking hard for us awesome, sexy women with disabilities to have an active dating life? Well, guess what? My guest today assigns partial blame to the beloved 1990s TV sitcom Saved by the Bell. Let's find out why.
Break out your acid wash and your plaid shirts. We're going back to the 90s.
That's the voice of my friend, writer and actor, Emily Grace Brooke. Welcome, Emily.
Great to be with you, Amy.
Let's start with this, Emily. I also identify as a person with a disability. I'm legally blind, and I'm really glad to be a part of this conversation, because I also know how hard dating was for me after I acquired my sight loss. So, Emily, for you as a person who uses a wheelchair, what to you is the most frustrating misconception that folks without a disability have when it comes to dating somebody with a disability?
Well, I'd say their inability to see us as sexual beings at all. I get asked, how do you have sex? All the time.
The assumption being that people with disabilities aren't capable of having sex.
Which is so not true. Not only are we sexual, we make wonderful partners, but a gazillion obstacles prevent able-bodied people from being able to see us that way.
Of course, there's the physical obstacles.
The physical barriers in public spaces, clubs, coffee shops, museums, basically everywhere you ever saw Matthew McConaughey woo a girl. Those barriers to accessibility make meetups really difficult.
A lot of the couples that I know met through work.
Right, but the unemployment rate for people with disabilities reduces our chances there.
Right, and in addition to those barriers, there's also the stereotypes about disability that are peppered throughout mainstream media.
You mean sad and depressed characters without a hope in the world?
Or we're the inspirational hero with a childlike positivity for whatever scraps life throws at us?
Can the media ever resist inspiration porn?
Is disability ever portrayed positively?
Okay, occasionally, but rarely as part of the narrative of a happy, productive life, a life with romance in it.
Emily, can you tell us when you first realized this?
Oh, yes. I was watching Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell, the beloved early 90s American high school sitcom about a group of high school friends.
The beloved but problematic high school sitcom that, if the early 90s were part of your formative years, you tuned into weekly.
Okay, so tell me, what was the specific episode that did you in?
Season 4, Episode 6, Teen Line.
When I wake up in the morning and the alarm gets out of warning, I don't think I'll ever make it on time.
The episode that made me realize I could never look forward to a regular dating life.
Take us back there, Emily.
'Cause I'm saved by the bell.
It's 1992 and I'm watching Saved by the Bell religiously. In this episode, Jesse, the book-smart feminist, organizes a student-run crisis line. On his way there, Zach, the star, harasses a girl in the hallway and then proceeds to ignore Jesse's careful instructions to not form a personal relationship with the callers. He asks one of the first ones on a date after declaring her hot from the sound of her voice.
All in a day's work, helping beautiful teen babes.
Ick.
So, they meet for the first time. Zach is stunned to see his date, Melissa. Eyes bulging, he says.
Whoa, you're in a wheelchair.
Then he launches into standard personal questions every person with a disability recognizes.
How did it happen? Does it hurt? Is it broken? And I'm so sorry.
Exactly. Then, after grilling Melissa about her disability, Zach's friends enter. And Zach, now a self-appointed disability advocate, introduces his date.
Now look, Melissa's handicapped, but she's really comfortable with it, so let's get over it, okay?
A champion of disability rights is born.
Yep.
So how's Melissa through all this?
mortally embarrassed, but still handling it remarkably well.
Oh, good. Well, at least there's someone who is emotionally mature on this show.
Zach continues to humiliate Melissa when they go to a movie, insisting an usher arrest an able-bodied man sitting in the wheelchair spot.
This young woman happens to be handicapped, and someone has illegally parked in the handicapped space.
I'm sorry, I'll call the police.
Zach, it's not that important. We found a spot.
I also noticed that you have no wheelchair access to your restrooms.
Zach, I'm fine.
Performative allyship. Let's break that one down for our listeners.
Sure, performative allyship. When able-bodied people think they're being selfless hero advocates for a person with a disability by completely taking over. Not intentionally, but crucially, taking away any agency from the person with a disability to advocate for themselves.
Ugh, take us to the end already.
It's the worst. At the school dance, Melissa explains to Zach how embarrassing his behavior was to her. Zach then makes a vague reference to the possibility of dating her again, before flopping his hand out towards her to initiate the most awkward slow dance in fictional teen history.
And does Melissa ever make another appearance at Bayside High School?
Never.
As if adolescence isn't hard enough. Emily, can we rewrite this episode? Like, right now in this moment? Like, let's just make it right.
You mean, can we turn it into a powerful teen romance that teaches the power of disability and sexual agency? Sexed by the Bell.
Yes, or we could call it Smack Zach.
Oh, I like it.
Okay, so, in our reimagined episode, it opens with Zach getting slapped by the girl he harasses in the hallway,
Plummeting him into an existential crisis.
Yeah, but this time I really acted like an idiot.
And instead of meeting Melissa on the crisis line,
He meets her when she phones him in her volunteer capacity, reminding students of Bayside High's upcoming prom.
and on the phone, turned off by Zach's jock attitude, she calls him out on his toxic masculinity. And then Zach, admits as much and then is like a decent person for once.
Yes! Then Melissa invites him for a shake at the diner.
And instead of being freaked out by her wheelchair,
He talks to her like he would any other girl,
enter the friends.
whom he introduces to Melissa without a disability disclaimer.
Amazing. And then, totally smitten with Melissa, Zach invites her to the dance.
He has to. He's crazy about Melissa at this point. But she takes her time. In fact, she doesn't even get back to him.
So, Zach goes alone?
Yes, and in wheels Melissa.
Okay, and then Zach approaches.
And
What?
in walks her date. Brock or Mike or Chad. I don't know. Anyway, he's way hotter than Zach.
Perfect. And then Melissa says,
Sorry, Zach. You're just not my type.
Whoa.
Love it.
Dare to dream.
Thanks, Emily. That was great. If only disability history could be rewritten so easily. But seriously, is it hopeless, all of this stuff that we're talking about? Please, let there be solutions.
There are. I think if we can get back to the fundamentals, to me, relationships are about the way we make each other feel. A disability diagnosis has zero effect on a person's ability to make another person feel good.
Wise words, my girl, wise words.
Thank you for listening to them.
My pleasure, always happy to share words with you, Emily Grace Brooke. Thanks for listening, folks. I invite you to tune in again for other podcasts hosted by Real Wheels Theatre. Have fun with us as we gain insight into disability and as we rewrite
And own.
That's right. Rewrite and own our stories.
This podcast is a production of Real Wheels Theatre, an award-winning Vancouver-based theatre company with a mandate to deepen understanding of disability. You've just listened to one of our 4-part podcast series. We invite you to listen to the other 3. These short podcasts range from silly and lighthearted to seriously academic. The podcasts were written, interviewed, and performed by Amy Amanti, Alfia Badalova, Emily Grace Brooke, Rena Cohen, Andrew Lawrenson, and Casper Ryan. These podcasts were produced and directed for Real Wheels by Rena Cohen, with technical production by Kimit Sekon. Thanks to Canada Council for the Arts, BC Arts Council, the Province of British Columbia, and the City of Vancouver for financial support. Special thanks to Cadence Konopaki and Mark Ash. We hope you enjoyed this Real Wheels podcast. We invite you to drop us a line at info@realwheels.ca or visit us on Facebook or Instagram. Be sure to listen to the other 3, and thanks for listening.